Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Graham, for those of you who don't know me, and for those of you who do know me, I just wanted to say thank you for 1,000 subscribers. I started this a little less than a year ago, and so it means a lot to have seen that much growth in such a short time. The majority of this video is going to concern some new pickups that I've made in these past 3 months. I'm always moving my wardrobe around and buying and selling, trying to find the right things, and so there were definitely a few pieces that I had picked up earlier this year that didn't get the wear that I wanted to get out of them, or just didn't fit me how I wanted. So I sold those and reinvested into some better pieces, in my opinion at least, stuff that works better for my style. You will see at the end of the video, I threw in some random clips from a couple of the places that I went to the past 3 months, and you can expect more of that in the coming months when I am back overseas and traveling. Because I haven't uploaded in a while, it's going to make traffic on this video a little more difficult to get, so it would really be appreciated if you could like the video, comment what piece was your favorite, and also subscribe if you aren't already. So the very first piece of clothing is actually a piece of footwear, the Visvim ICT Grizzly boots. Now, what you see here is the characteristic Grizzly boot that Visvim is known for, lauded for, everyone loves. And what they do with the ICT variant of that is they actually send it to get mud dyed and broken down and repaired, and what you get is this boot that looks like it has already seen a lifetime before you received it. The shoe's made out of a calf skin in both the upper and lower portions of it, which is interesting because often the older models have this made out of cloth, but I find them incredibly well insulated and also waterproof, which is great. They definitely came muddied already, but I have worn them a ton since, and just constantly in the pouring rain, in the snow, in the mud, and they only look better and better. The detailing on these shoes is exceptional. You can see the uneven hand stitch throughout the sole, and then also the upper that's joining all of the pieces of leather together. And usually I'm not the biggest fan of calf leather because I don't think it has quite as supple of a touch as something like goat or lamb or even horse. But in this case, Visvim had a really sort of just exceptional level of quality with the leather they chose, and I'm honestly amazed by how great it feels. In previous iterations, they really made the Grizzly boot sort of trashed almost in how much mending it required to keep the boots together after being soaked in the mud baths. And I feel like this 2023 version is a very tasteful sort of amount of the dyeing process, where you have this great sort of detailing on the toe and the staining all right here, but there's no sort of mold like the older ones. There's not a whole lot of repairing to be found on them. The only one that I found so far is right here, which I think looks exceptional. I really love this boot, honestly, more than the other probably. Just, you can see how rich and dark the mud dyeing goes on these. They're just an amazing pair of boots, and they are indestructible, which I think is what everyone says about these. And when I got into Visvim, I really didn't believe the hype about the Grizzlies. I just didn't care that much about them, but I'm so grateful to own a pair of them now. So for the next item, it will be a pair of pants, and I've searched and searched for these pants basically since I got into Visvim. I knew they were my favorite pant, and that would be the Visvim Gifford pant in its damaged iteration. And you can see the textbook sort of mending detailing on these pants, and they come in this beautiful green colorway. Now, unfortunately, there is a caveat to these. They're the original version of the Gifford from the fall-winter 2020 season in a size 3, which should be my size, especially in high-waisted pants. I'm a 34 for reference, 33, 34. Unfortunately, the cut that they use is actually just pretty much too narrow for me to wear them as a regular high-waisted pant. I measured the thigh and it's about a 10-inch opening, which is honestly even smaller than their 03 cut. After wearing them a couple hours just as a regular rise sort of trousers, they definitely loosened up on my thighs and they looked passable, fine. But I think when you own a pair of pants that costs, more than $200, you really should only take perfection as an answer. And yeah, I think there's just better stuff that I can get instead of these pants. So if someone would like to buy these, they're on Grailed. Feel free to message me on Instagram too. You have a beautiful duck canvas cotton here that creates this really interesting sort of textured pattern on the pants, and it's been distressed, all over the pant. The mending on these pants is absolutely stunning. You can see the reinforced holes here along with further distressing all around it, even on the belt loops and the edges of the pants, the hem of the pants. You can see it's sort of raw, and they probably went over it with a razor or something by hand and just gently distressed the entire pant. And what I love about this duck canvas is it essentially almost has like a waxed property to it, and you can really see scratches and stuff show up right on the surface, which just further characterizes it in this really aged, worn down manner. They're not olive, but I would say they're pretty close to just being basically an earth tone. They go with everything, and more than anything, I'm just so jealous of the people that get to wear these and put them in an outfit. So we're gonna put it in a non-Visvim gear for the moment with this t-shirt that I bought in Paris at a store called Gingy, and it's just this Warehouse & Co. sort of vintage repro shirt. You can see it. Sort of this cream graphic tee, and what I really like about this tee is the graphic and just the color of the blank. I don't think it's a loop wheel tee. It was about half the price of my Warehouse & Co. loop wheel tees. I think it was like 40 euros maybe. There's not a whole lot of context for it. It just looks like the sort of shirt you would find on a true vintage Instagram account. It's clearly some sort of repro, vintage inspired t-shirt. And while I'm not crazy about graphic tees, I think every once in a while I find one that I would definitely wear, and this is one of them. And I really enjoy this sort of line that they're doing, where they're not only making loop wheel tees, but you can buy like repro ringer tees from them, graphic tees, and they're very tastefully made. None of them look too childish. It's something that Visvim doesn't really do, and I wish it would do more of. Like, for example, they had a rock vintage tee that they made for this past season, and it was very hyped up, but it has nothing but Visvim branding all over it. And I just sort of wish they would make more tees like this, where you could get a t-shirt that doesn't say Visvim on it and you don't know that it's Visvim, but it has the quality and the sort of like aging techniques and stuff that are very characteristic to Visvim. I love a graphic tee that is pretty much neutral to the point that it just blends in with whatever you're wearing. It doesn't distract. I think that's the key to a good graphic tee. And I highly recommend Gingy. It's my second time going there. It's a very small store, but they have a wonderful selection, and they even have their own house-made brand. They have this really sort of curated repro aesthetic that isn't too cosplay-y. It's a lot more functional and elegant, and yeah, highly recommend it if you're ever in Paris. For my next pickup, this comes from vintage shopping in Amsterdam. The first one is this lovely herringbone twill coverall jacket in this beautiful faded indigo color, and I have no idea what the brands are for either of my pickups. I'm pretty sure they're both from Germany, as that's where most of them are from. I consciously made the decision to not buy moleskin and instead buy herringbone twill because I just adore herringbone twill fabric. It is so comfortable and so lightweight. It is perfect to layer with. And so they had a couple of these in stock, and I sort of just tried what fit me best, and this is what I landed on. And you can see on the inside of it, it has this very dark blue color, and you can see the natural sun fading throughout the whole piece along with some paint splatters on it. My only complaint would be that the buttons are made of some sort of plastic, and I would really love it if they had like donut hole buttons or, you know, some sort of metal button system. And I just really appreciate the sort of uneven purplish indigo-y color that you get from it, along with this sort of tasteful amount of paint splattering. And yeah, I'm very happy about this one. The other one that I'm way more excited about is this shirt made out of a herringbone twill. And this is not a coverall, obviously. It's a 2-pocket button-up that to me reminds me a lot of Visvim's lumber cut. You can even see on the shirt that it has dropped shoulders on it, which I was very shocked to find on an older piece of clothing, and it fit me perfectly. It's a bit less broken in, I would say, than the last one, but it's still very soft. And something I love are the frayed cuffs on both sides of the shirt, along with the general just uneven indigo color all over. It fits me perfectly, just like the other one, and it only cost me $80. And I was just so thankful to find these because they really speak to me. They speak to exactly what I like in a vintage product. They style excellently in my wardrobe. I couldn't be happier. So switching back into a Visvim frame of mind, I have a new 101XX pickup, and that would be in the form of this dry PK crash, the black iteration, which is a bit uncommon for me actually. I tend to really not like black clothing, and I've sort of dipped my toe more in the water with that this season. I don't think it will ever become my favorite, but I'm recognizing the helpfulness of owning some black pieces in my wardrobe. So this is the original iteration of the 101XX Dry PK from Spring Summer 22, and it just has this great sort of washed, almost charcoal effect to it with some white paint splattering. You can even see that the collar has been gently distressed, and I love on the arm here how you have some sort of patchwork on both the cuff and further up the sleeve. And overall, it's a very tasteful sort of iteration of a crash jacket. You can see more distressing on this side. And I really appreciate this colorway in particular, and the navy one as well. I'm glad that I got this one, however. After picking up my 101XX in the raw mud iteration, I've worn it a ton, and I realized just how well the 101XX fits me. So getting another version in a different material was the logical next step to me, as I just know it will be something I wear all the time. It did cost me a pretty penny, but I have no regrets about buying it. It has been such a treat to wear, and every single time I put it on, I just can't get over how well the 101XX fits my body. For my next pickup, this took me a pretty good amount of time to locate, track down, and ultimately bite the bullet to buy. But along the line of herringbone twill fabric, I have the Willard Crash jacket from 2020. And this jacket is a masterpiece in my mind from Visvim. As you can see, I really like my crash items that Visvim has made over the years, and this one is no different. It's a classic military jacket. This is a silhouette that is constantly used, and so what Visvim has done here is they have completely taken the jacket and broken it down and repaired it even more so than that 101XX Dry PK, to a point where it's borderline destroyed, and they have repaired it completely. And you can see the patchwork that they've done with denim on the jacket in both the front and the back. I've grown to really enjoy this sort of contrast in the jacket. My favorite sort of Easter egg that Visvim has done are the classic, I believe, 13-star buttons that are on this jacket, the original versions of this jacket distributed by the Army. Visvim redid the buttons and snuck a sort of VSVM around the stars. I would say the only thing I really dislike about this jacket is the elbow hole in the back is just absolutely thrashed. And I have seen friends replace that with a bandana or something, so there's a good chance I do that down the line. I think it'll only enhance the character of this jacket. It is perfect for layering in the winter and just great on its own in the summer. And yeah, that's the Visvim Willard Crash jacket. Moving on, we have two big boys. This first one probably could have been in the last video, but it actually came the day after I left, which was a bummer, but I got it just in time for the weather to shift to a point where I could actually wear the jacket. This is the Visvim Patterson. This is from Spring Summer 2020, and this jacket is essentially Visvim's signature 6'5" parka with a hood on it and some other silhouette changes, such as there not being a fishtail in the back of the jacket. You have this beautiful mud-dyed cotton nylon blend that makes up the entire jacket, and it is just the perfect layering piece. Now, with Visvim, any sort of outerwear, I recommend you size down. I'm a 3 in basically everything now. I used to be 3 or 4. Pretty much everything I'm a 3 in, with some exceptions. And I chose this because I really wanted to have the hood. I feel like a parka is kind of impractical if you don't have a hood. You have basically 2 upper pockets and 2 lower pockets, so I would say that these are pretty much the hand warmer pockets, and then these are just like some extra storage pockets at the bottom. And the jacket sits quite long on my body, but the sleeves fit perfectly. Now, I will note that this is not one of the Visvim jackets where the liner can button inside of it, and it just has this perfect signature Riri zipper right here, along with button fasteners. All the pockets snap, but I don't regret buying this one bit, because especially this winter, when I've wanted to really layer up and wear like a hoodie, a light jacket, and then this, I can do that and not get too hot, unlike trying to triple layer with a down jacket or something and you feel like you're gonna pass out. And yeah, so for the last pickup of this video, I have one very special jacket that I was on the fence to buy originally, and I bit the bullet, and I'm very glad that I did because it's phenomenal. So the jacket I am referencing is the Visvim Strabbler down jacket. This is also from Spring Summer 2020. I believe there's a chance that maybe it was like a store opening exclusive or something like that. I really am not sure. I don't think that's the case because they're on the US website still in like size 2 or something. This is the first version Visvim ever made of a Strabbler down jacket, along with the down vests that are also made from this over-dyed nylon fabric, versus the newer iteration, which is what you saw in the previous video, that sort of is made in a different process. There's 100 in the world of all the colorways, which probably means there's about 30 of this one. And this is a size 4, as they run incredibly slim, especially if you want to layer it. You could probably get away with a 3 if you just wanted to wear a t-shirt underneath, but for me, I need a 4. Just in general, I have very broad shoulders, so I was not going to take any sort of risks. And in this iteration, yes, it's black, but it's an over-dyed colorway, that is also mud dyed on top of that. And what you get is this very sort of uneven effect in the dyeing. When you look at it, it almost has a sort of dull matte quality to it, where it's not high gloss or anything like that. It's very understated, very plain, and it's your classic motorcycle jacket silhouette. They basically took a leather jacket and made it into a polished down jacket. It keeps me insanely warm in the winter, and every single zipper on this is a re-zip that has been hand distressed to look worn. You have the main zip here, diagonal pocket zip. Both sleeves have a zip here, which I think is so cool. And then on the back, you have some riveting right here across. These buttons unbutton to zip up. You have this belt fastener down here, which I sort of just leave tucked and folded like that. If I'm wearing it, maybe I'll fasten it, but I don't really care. I'm very happy to own this. I would say my favorite quirk of the jacket is actually on the inside of it. You have a pocket right here, which you don't get on the vest iterations, at least not on the vest iteration that I own. Maybe on the friends and family ones that were released around this time, you get it. I think along with my grizzly boots, they're two of my favorite things that I've gotten recently. And yeah, those are the pickups. I just wanted to make a note again that my closet is ever changing. I'm selling stuff, I'm adding stuff. I don't want this to come off as some kid that is just constantly buying insane stuff to add into an already very full wardrobe. If you're anything like me, you know that you're constantly selling stuff on Grailed, constantly deciding that you like new stuff, that you want to try out new stuff. And I really feel like this year I've grown more sure of my style and what I like.
Oh boy, I know I sent it to my. No, that's not my 감사합니다. 감사합니다.
Once again, thank you for supporting. As always, I'll see you in the next one.